High above the blue planet, the alien warship Korther Vex drifted to the thin shell of Earth's upper atmosphere. From a distance, it looked like a black spear cutting across the sky. Its surface shimmered with scales of dark metal, alive with soft green light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Inside the ship, the air smelled of steel and ozone, and every sound carried the low hum of ancient engines that had never known rest. The crew of the ship were the Velkarn, a race of tall, reptilian hunters. Each one stood twice the height of a human. Their skin was thick and ridged, built for battle and survival on their homeworld, Tyros 9, a place where only predators lived. Their leader, Commander Vorkel, was older than most, his scales duller but his eyes sharp as blades. He watched the planet below on a holographic map that showed millions of signals moving across the surface. To the Velkarn, every unknown world was a challenge. They existed to hunt, to prove that no creature anywhere could stand against them. Their people kept a grand arena on Tyros 9 where trophies from across the galaxy were displayed. Skulls, claws, bones, and hides of the strongest beasts ever caught. The arena was called the Collector's Pit, a place where honor and fear mixed together. Vorkel had won more trophies than any captain before him. Yet still, he wanted one prize no Velkarn hunter had ever claimed, a beast from the strange world of humans called Earth. 37 million forms of life, reported Commander Keth, his second in command. The alien's voice was deep and harsh, like stones breaking. Predators, prey, creatures that fly, crawl, dig, and swim. The scanners cannot even count them all. Vorkel's eyes narrowed. Impressive. So much life on one small ball of dirt. He leaned closer to the display. And yet, we see no clear apex, no ruler of this world's food chain. None, Commander. Our sensors cannot decide. Power is divided among many. Vorkel gave a hard laugh. A planet without a king? Strange. Every world has one creature above the rest. We will find it. He turned to the gathered officers around the command pit. Dozens of hungry eyes blinked back. Prepare a hunting team. We will capture the mightiest beast this world can give. The next fight in the arena will remind the galaxy who the Velkarn are. The crew hissed their agreement, tails twitching with anticipation. Their claws tapped against consoles as they began scanning the continents below. Images appeared, lions chasing antelope, sharks slicing through blue water, bears breaking open trees, and massive reptiles basking in the sun. None of it impressed them. Vorkel frowned. These are strong, yes, but they are predictable. We have hunted greater. One officer hesitated before speaking. Commander, there's another species that confuses the sensors, the small ones who walk upright. We detect cities, machines, energy fields, and signals spread across every continent. They call themselves humans. Vorkel studied the data. They look weak. No claws, thin skin, small bones. Keth rumbled in agreement. Their tools make them dangerous, but their bodies are fragile. Vorkel waved his claw. Then they are not predators. They are tamers, domesticated beings hiding behind metal and fire. He gave a slow smile. Still, I am curious. Bring one of them here. I wish to see the face of a creature who believes itself master of beasts. Far below, in an isolated human research base, alarms blared as bright lights split the sky. Within minutes, a Velkarn transport ship appeared, shimmering into view. Humans on the ground barely had time to react before a spotlight swallowed the base. The next instant, everything and everyone inside was gone. When Dr. Sam Carter woke, he wasn't on Earth anymore. He found himself in a vast metallic hall, surrounded by tall, armored figures with glowing eyes. The air vibrated with deep rumbles, distant roars, and the hiss of pressurized gas. The aliens towered above him, but they hadn't hurt him. They only watched, curious. One stepped forward, its armor reflecting the ship's lights. You are the one called human? Its translator barked in rough, mechanical English. Sam's heart pounded, but he stood straight. Yeah, that's me. The alien turned toward the biggest of them all, Vorkel himself, who moved like a king among soldiers. His presence filled the chamber. Small, Vorkel said quietly. Soft, the translation device added. You lead this planet? You hunt. Sam blinked, confused. Hunt? Not exactly. We study animals. Sometimes we protect them. Vorkel's crest lifted, a gesture of amusement. Protect? Then you are weak indeed. He circled the humans slowly, claws clicking on the floor. We are the Velkarn. Every world trembles when our hunters arrive. We seek your greatest predator. Show it to us. Sam's fear faded, replaced by the spark of a scientist's pride. You want our greatest predator? Vorkel spread his arms wide. Yes, your apex. The creature at the very top. The one your world fears. Sam looked up at the holographic stars overhead, then back at the alien commander. He smiled faintly. You sure about that? You might not like what you find. Keth snarled. We fear nothing human. Sam shrugged. That's what everyone says, until they meet it. The aliens exchanged puzzled looks. Vorkel's eyes glimmered with interest. Fine, you will show us this creature. If it satisfies me, perhaps your world will live untouched. If it does not, he leaned close enough that Sam could see his needle-like teeth. Then your kind will join the list of the hunted. Sam felt the weight of hundreds of eyes. The deck vibrated as the warship shifted position, setting its course for their arena on Tyros 9. He took a slow breath, steadying his voice. You'll get your apex predator, Commander. But remember, you asked for it. For the first time, Vorkel's grin faltered ever so slightly. Far beyond the window, Earth's blue curve began to fade as the warship jumped to faster-than-light speed. The hunt had begun, and the Velkarn had no idea what waited for them. The stars blurred into long silver lines as the Korther Vex tore through the darkness of space. Deep inside the ship, Sam Carter sat alone in a bright metal room that hummed like a sleeping animal. He had been treated well enough. No chains, no pain, but he knew this was no act of kindness. The Velkarn didn't see him as a prisoner. They saw him as bait. 2 guards stood at the door, tall and motionless. Every now and then their tails flicked against the floor with a soft thud. Sam had tried to ask them questions about where he was going, how long the trip would take. But they ignored him completely. He spent the time thinking about Earth, about the strange demand the aliens had made. Show us your world's greatest predator. He remembered the look in Commander Vorkel's eyes when he said it, half challenge, half insult. Outside his chamber window, the endless dark began to shift. A glowing red world rolled into view. It looked harsh, covered in smoke and volcanoes. Even from space, Sam could feel the danger radiating from it. The door opened, and Commander Keth motioned for him to follow. Come, human. The commander will see you. They led Sam through twisting corridors filled with alien sounds, roars, mechanical grinding, the echo of weapons charging. Walls were decorated with giant bones and alien claws. Sam realized these trophies came from every corner of the galaxy. Somewhere out there, whole species had fallen just for sport. Finally, he reached the central command hall. Vorkel stood in the middle, his armor gleaming under orange light. Around him, other officers hissed softly, their scaled hands resting on spears and rifles. A huge window looked down on the planet below. Tyros 9, home world of predators. Welcome to the feeding ground, Vorkel said. You stand in the home of the strongest hunters alive. If your species ever wishes to claim glory, today is your chance. Sam folded his arms. You really want to fight? You get one. Vorkel's grin widened. Good. You will show us this creature of yours. But first you will see ours. They took him to a massive hangar. The walls were smooth silver, but the floor was broken and scarred, as if heavy things had fought there before. From behind an energy gate came deep growls that made the air throb. A shadow moved inside the cage, huge, heavy, alive. When the light fell across it, Sam saw an animal that looked like something out of a nightmare. It walked on 2 hind legs, with a long armored tail, and a jaw full of black teeth. Its claws were like curved knives. The Rithrax, Keth explained proudly, born on Tyros 9. Stronger than any life form we have ever found. It hunts for pleasure. It eats for power. It fears nothing. Sam watched, both amazed and horrified. The creature stared through the barrier at him, eyes yellow and burning. The human swallowed hard. It's big. Vorkel chuckled. We call it our apex among apexes. It has killed monsters that could crush ships. We have defeated every rival species across the stars. But tell me, human, can your world match that? Sam smirked faintly. You're looking for strength in the wrong places. He turned toward a small holoscreen nearby. I need a containment pod, atmosphere level Earth standard, high gravity tolerance. I'll show you something how attitude beats armor. Keth frowned. You do not plan to bring that creature here? I do, Sam said. It won't take much space. The aliens looked at one another, confused but intrigued. Vorkel nodded. Prepare what the human requests. Hours later, in a laboratory filled with glowing instruments, Sam worked beside Velkarn technicians. They were impatient, tapping their claws, watching as he adjusted one of their teleportation platforms. He uploaded coordinates and double-checked the filters. They didn't know what he was summoning, and for some reason, that gave him courage. When everything was ready, Sam pressed his hand against the console and started the sequence. A circle of light opened on the floor. There was a pulse, then a flash of dust and sound. Out of the light stepped something small, low to the ground and covered in fur. The aliens leaned forward, searching for the hidden monster. What they saw made them burst into derisive laughter. It was no larger than a house cat, with thick gray fur and a white band down its back. Its eyes were almost black, shiny and very calm. It sniffed the air once, then scratched the floor impatiently. This, Vorkel said slowly, is your greatest predator? Sam grinned. Meet a honey badger. Keth almost choked from laughter. That small rodent is your champion? Not a rodent, Sam corrected. A mammal, carnivore, will fight anything it meets. He crouched down and looked at the creature through the glass wall. He doesn't look scary, I know, but don't judge by size. The honey badger was now walking in circles, nose twitching, as if memorizing every sound and smell in the strange alien lab. Vorkel tapped his talon on the floor. You bring this toy to face the Rithrax. Sam straightened, completely calm. You asked for fearlessness. That's the one you want. The commander studied him for a long moment. Very well. The arena will decide. The next morning, the Korther Vex descended through the skies of Tyros 9. Its engines roared as it landed beside the largest structure on the planet, an enormous pit surrounded by towers and lights. Creatures from 100 worlds roared from cages lining the walls. Above them, thousands of Velkarn-filled seats made from black stone. The audience had come from across the system to witness this new test of dominance. Sam stood on a raised platform at the edge of the arena. The honey badger rested inside a small transparent box, glaring at everything. Across the pit, the Rithrax waited behind a glowing barrier, its breath steaming. The smell of ozone and dust mixed in the air. Vorkel raised his arm and shouted to the crowd. His voice boomed across the open pit. We welcome a new challenge. The human species, small, fragile, foolish, claims it can rival the Rithrax. Let our hunters witness if courage alone can defeat power. The crowd roared in delight. Drums pounded. The lights dimmed, leaving only the center of the arena lit like a stage. Sam felt his stomach twist, but refused to look away. Release them, Vorkel commanded. The floor shook. 2 gates opened, one large enough for a starship door, the other only chest high. The Rithrax stepped forward slowly, muscles rippling under thick armor plates. Across from it, the honey badger padded out, unhurried, head low, sharp claws clicking softly on the metal ground. The aliens leaned forward, amused. To them, it was already over. Sam watched, a quiet smile spreading across his face. You're about to learn, he murmured, that size and strength aren't everything. Somewhere deep inside, the honey badger growled, a low, defiant rumble that cut through the drums, through the laughter, to the vast alien crowd. For the first time since he arrived, Sam saw Vorkel's grin fade. The fight had not even begun, but something ancient in every living creature present stirred uneasily. On this strange world of monsters, for the first time, something truly fearless had arrived. The vibration of the drums rolled up to the ground until the whole arena throbbed like a living heart. Thousands of Velkarn filled the terraces, claws scraping the rails, eyes flashing gold in the smoke and light. The air was thick with the smell of oil, dust, and excitement. They had come to watch strength crush weakness. Every one of them was certain of the outcome before the fight even started. At the edge of the viewing platform, Dr. Sam Carter stood beside Commander Vorkel. They looked down at the wide stone pit, where two gates faced each other. One gate, massive silver, covered in old scars, blocked the Rithrax. The other, no larger than the door to a broom closet, held the honey badger. From this height, the little creature looked like a piece of dark fur against pale sand. Vorkel's voice rumbled with laughter. Your creature looks smaller than the Rithrax's tongue. Sam didn't respond. He just kept watching the badger pacing tight circles, silent and focused. Beneath the pit, a Velkarn technician shouted the final checks. Shields ready. Gravity locks engaged. Seal the gates. The crowd roared once more as force fields shimmered to life. Vorkel raised his arm, and silence spread slowly outward like a wave. Today, he barked, we pit the masters of Earth against the masters of Tyros 9. Let the universe see which world breeds true predators. His hand dropped. A blast of sound shook the ground as both energy gates dissolved. The Rithrax stepped forward first. Dust trembled with each heavy step. It was taller than two humans standing on each other's shoulders, muscles moving under scaled armor that glowed faintly from heat. It sported 4 eyes, 2 small and reptilian near its snout, and 2 larger ones farther back on its head, giving it a predator's full view. Rows of teeth glistened as it released a roar that vibrated inside the chest of every onlooker. The honey badger didn't move. It stood still, ears twitching, measuring every sound, every breath, like an old warrior studying a battlefield. Then it lowered its body, hind legs tensing. Without warning, it charged. The crowd burst into harsh laughter. The aliens thought it was absurd. This tiny thing running straight towards certain death. Only Sam stayed silent, eyes fixed on the arena floor. The Rithrax thrust out a claw the size of a spear. The impact cracked the stone and threw dust into the air. When the dust cleared, the honey badger was gone. The claw hung empty. Somewhere under the beast's chest came a sudden snarl. The Rithrax howled and stumbled. The small creature clung to its foreleg, teeth buried deep into a vein of blue blood. The badger ripped and twisted with savage rhythm. For a breathless moment, the entire crowd forgot to laugh. The Rithrax slammed its limb against the ground, trying to crush its attacker, but the badger slipped free, rolling away in a blur of motion. It remained low, circling back in quick darting steps. Each time the monster's claws came down, it dodged. Each time an opening showed, it struck again, chewing, tearing, violent, and fearless. Blood spattered across the sand. Impossible, Vorkel whispered. That creature has no fear response. Sam gave a small grin. None. It doesn't know how. The battle continued, short and brutal bursts mixed with long, suspenseful pauses. The Rithrax tried to roar the little thing into submission, to scare it into retreat, but the badger didn't even flinch. Instead, it turned that small defiant face toward the giant predator, hissed, and lunged again. Every strike it landed was fast, deliberate, aimed for a joint or a soft patch of skin. The Velkarn had bred their beasts for power, teeth, claws, muscle, but not intelligence. The Rithrax had never faced something that hit and disappeared before it even swung back. 10 minutes into the fight, the once mocking crowd was restless. What started as laughter now turned to shouts of alarm and disbelief. The Rithrax's steps were slower, one foreleg dragged limply. A trickle of blue blood streaked from a dozen wounds. Sam folded his arms. Now you see what we call fearless. Vorkel scowled. The Rithrax cannot lose. It is the peak of creation. No, Sam said quietly. It just thinks it is. The Rithrax finally caught the badger with a sweeping tail, sending the small creature flying across the arena. It hit the ground hard, rolled, and for a heartbeat lay still. The crowd erupted, relief and triumph rising again. But before the commander could add another word, the honey badger twitched, shuddered, and got back up. It shook the dust from its fur, turned around, and marched straight back toward the towering alien beast. A strange sound filled the stands, half laughter, half disbelief. Even Vorkel felt the fur on the back of his neck stand. He could sense something ancient in that stubborn little animal, something bound to survival itself. The badger darted forward once more. This time, it went for the throat. It climbed along the Rithrax's leg like a flash of gray lightning, slashing as it went, crawling until it reached the creature's neck. Its jaws found a thinner spot under the scales. It bit down and refused to let go. The Rithrax bellowed in agony, thrashing in circles, smashing against the stone walls. Entire boulders cracked under its weight. Yet the small earth creature stayed attached, biting harder, drawing more of that glowing blue blood as it shook its head violently. The arena rang with the sound of the impossible, a 2-foot predator dominating a 30-foot monster. Finally, the Rithrax staggered, gasped, and fell to one knee. The badger leapt clear at the last second, landing neatly and staring back at its fallen opponent. It gave a short, rough snort, as if insulted that the fight had ended too soon. Steam rose from the creature's open wound. The mighty Rithrax collapsed completely, chest barely moving. For a long, stunned minute no one made a sound. The silence broke with 1,000 whispers. Some Velkarns shouted that the simulation had failed. Others swore it was trickery. But Vorkel couldn't move his eyes away from the honey badger. The small creature was pacing again, still in fight mode, still ready to take on whatever came next. Sam leaned forward, his calm voice carrying over the comms. You asked for Earth's greatest predator. I didn't bring it. It's right here. It's the instinct inside every living thing down there. Vorkel finally tore his gaze away from the pit. His jaw tightened. You mean to tell me this tiny creature symbolizes your world? Sam nodded. It doesn't know it's small. It just knows it's alive, and nothing gets to stop that. The commander looked back down. The Rithrax gave a final twitch, then went still. The honey badger walked up to its massive head, stared into one lifeless yellow eye, and bit once more, just to be sure. The crowd erupted, some in awe, others in pure fear. Vorkel sat back slowly. For the first time in his long life of hunting, he felt a strange emotion he couldn't name. It took him a moment to realize it was admiration, and maybe, deep down, the faintest trace of unease. As guards rushed into the pit to recover what was left of their champion, Sam rested his hands on the railing. You see, Commander, we don't look for power, he said softly. We look for the will that never stops. The honey badger glanced up toward the stands, teeth red, eyes defiant, as though it understood exactly what had been said. And high above, in the blazing lights of Tyro's Nine's arena, the legend of Earth's most fearless creature was born. The arena lay silent. Smoke drifted above the sand, and the giant Rithrax twitched once before going still. The honey badger stood over it, small, blood-stained, unbroken. Thousands of Velkarn watched in disbelief. The creature hadn't just survived. It had humiliated their champion. Fear, a feeling most of them had never known, curled in their stomachs. Commander Vorkel climbed down to the pit, staring across the barrier at Sam Carter. How can something so small be fearless? Sam's calm voice carried in the quiet. Because it has to be. On Earth, everything tries to kill you. Fear's a waste of time. The honey badger padded toward Sam's side of the barrier and sniffed the air. The aliens flinched. Sam knelt and smiled gently. It doesn't see enemies now, only survivors. Vorkel frowned. You mean your kind are like this creature? Exactly, Sam said. You asked for Earth's greatest predator. You just met it, and you're looking at the ones who raised it. Later, as Tyro's Nine's twin moons climbed above the arena, Vorkel replayed the fight in his command room. Frame by frame, he watched the small animal's fury and precision. Strength had failed, but willpower hadn't. He whispered to himself, maybe the size of flesh means nothing. Maybe the apex is what refuses to stop. From orbit, Sam returned home with the battered honey badger asleep beside him. Below, the Velkarn world glowed red under its moons, and for the first time, its warriors spoke the human word respect with quiet voices. The galactic trade routes buzzed with something new, rumors. In a single night, word had spread faster than any ship could travel. It started as a whisper from one Velkarn transport captain to another. Their apex predator fell. Then came the recordings. The video of a tiny Earth creature reducing a titan to a corpse was copied and transmitted through every comm channel in known space. From pirate dens to royal courts, beings of 100 species stopped what they were doing to watch. They saw the claws, the blood, the impossible victory, and then they saw the humans smiling calmly through chaos. No one spoke for a few seconds after the recording ended. Then one voice after another repeated the same words. Never fight the humans. Aboard the Corther Vex, Sam Carter didn't care about whispers of glory or fear. He only cared that the honey badger was still alive. He sat beside a containment unit, watching it snore softly, its fur patchy from burns yet chest rising strong and steady. He had named it Scout during the long flight back to orbit. It felt right, curious, stubborn, unstoppable. The door hissed open. Commander Vorkel stepped in, his posture lower, less arrogant than before. The guards outside didn't try to stop him. He stopped a few paces from Sam and folded his arms. I have seen many battles end, he said quietly. I have never seen one change the meaning of the word predator. Sam didn't look up. Guess there's a first time for everything. Vorkel studied the small creature inside the tank. It could have killed until it fell apart. It didn't stop even when victory was certain. Why? Because fear disappeared for it long ago, Sam said. It's not courage, it's habit. Everything on Earth has to fight to live. We just learned to do it with brains as well as teeth. Vorkel's eyes narrowed. And humans are the same? Sam finally met his gaze. Exactly the same. We may build cities and ships, but under that, we're still animals that don't quit. On the lower decks of the Corther Vex, Velkarn crew gathered in uneasy groups. Some spoke angrily about revenge. Some whispered praise, and a few simply stared at the replay of the fight on loop. The image of the honey badger tearing into the Rithrax seemed burned into their minds. One young warrior asked his superior, Commander, if the human beast is so strong, why is it small? Our gods made us great in form. His superior said nothing for a long time. Then he sighed, a rare gesture for their kind. Maybe the gods didn't care about form. Maybe they cared about how long something keeps biting. The younger one fell silent. Days later, as Corther Vex reached the edge of Velkarn territory, the Council of Hunters demanded a gathering to judge what had happened. The Grand Chamber filled with the most decorated predators in the Empire, each towering over the human who'd been invited to defend his claim. Vorkel stood beside Sam, a gesture that shocked the entire council. The eldest among them, his scales white with age, bared his teeth. You humiliated our warriors. Earthling, you killed a sacred champion. And now recordings of our defeat travel across the stars. Do you call that peace? Sam clasped his hands behind his back. I call it a reminder. A reminder of what? The elder hissed. Sam took a slow breath. That even the smallest creature deserves respect. That strength means nothing without spirit. That maybe, he looked around, meeting alien eyes, you've all been hunting the wrong things. The room erupted with angry cries. Blades flashed, tails whipped, voices clashed like thunder. But Vorkel raised his arm for silence. Enough. You saw the recording. That fury was real. Even I feel it now when I close my eyes. Something so small, fighting against everything the galaxy believed. That is not trickery. That is truth. The elder sneered. Truth or fear? Vorkel's eyes hardened. Perhaps both. Perhaps that's why it matters. Sam turned toward the holographic screen that showed the frozen image of the honey badger mid-leap, fangs bared, claws digging into alien flesh. You call yourselves apex predators because you've never been pushed. You hunt for sport. On our world, we hunt to survive. He pointed at the image. That's not dominance. That's survival with style. A murmur of both confusion and admiration moved through the chamber. Some didn't understand. Others did, deeply. A few younger Velkarn straightened, pride replaced by curiosity. The elder finally spoke again, his voice quieter. What will your kind do now that you prove this? Sam smiled faintly. Nothing. We'll go home. But after tonight, every predator who looks at a human will remember what we carry inside. The room fell silent. Even the elder lowered his crest. Later, as the council dispersed into their ships, Vorkel joined Sam at the viewing balcony. Outside, the void of space shimmered with starlight. "You have given us a lesson, human," the commander admitted. "Before you, we believed fear was weakness. But fear can create something stronger when mastered." Sam chuckled softly. "Where I come from, fear's just fuel." Vorkel nodded slowly. "The others will study your world now, not as prey, but as teachers. You understand that changes everything." "That's fine," Sam said. "Just don't forget, if you come looking for another fight, Earth has more than one badger." Vorkel's grin returned, smaller, humbler. "I believe you." In the cargo bay, the honey badger woke and clawed at the container. Sam opened the top just enough to slide a hand inside. The creature sniffed his fingers, then flopped down, curling into itself, exhausted but unbroken. Sam watched it breathe, remembering the moment in the arena when silence followed victory. He thought about how every human, given enough pressure, might turn into something like that, unyielding, raw, alive. Before closing the hatch, he whispered, "You did well, little warrior." Scout's eyes cracked open for a second, gleamed faintly in the dim light, then shut again. On a communications channel halfway across the galaxy, a trader from the Zor Confederacy replayed the now-famous footage again. When the honey badger bit into the massive alien throat, he paused the feed and shook his head. "That came from Earth? A planet of those." His companion nodded. "And they have billions." The trader swallowed hard, then closed the file. "Let's make sure our trade routes avoid that world." Back aboard the human transport heading home, Sam leaned back in his seat as Earth's signal flickered in the console. He recorded a message for his organization. "Mission update. Contact successful. The Velkarn challenged us. They learned a different kind of strength today. The lesson's simple. Fearlessness isn't about size. It's about staying standing. Earth holds its place among predators now. Message ends." He smiled, glanced at the sleeping badger, and whispered, "You started a legend out there." Through the ship's glass, blue Earth grew brighter, calm and unsuspecting, unaware that throughout the stars his name had already become a warning and a promise. The Korther Vex sliced silently through the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere. Sunlight slid across its black hull as it descended. The world below looked peaceful, oceans like glass, clouds folded around continents. But to everyone aboard, it now glowed with quiet danger. Every Velkarn on the ship had seen what Earth created from simple survival, a creature that refused to bow to anything. Commander Vorkel stood at the observation deck as landing clearance blinked green. His reflection looked older than it had when he first left Tyros 9. He wasn't ashamed. His pride had survived worse blows. But he felt different in a way even he couldn't name. Something restless, respectful, almost hopeful. Behind him, Dr. Sam Carter entered, carrying the honey badger's transport container. The little animal was awake again, scratching its claws along the base, perfectly healthy and already irritated. "Back in one piece," Sam said, quietly. "That's our last miracle for today." Vorkel nodded. "In this world, you return to it as though nothing changed." Sam smiled a little. "This world doesn't change easily. It's already full of creatures that teach the same lesson every day. Adapt or die." The ship landed gently on a remote desert plain, where a small human recovery team waited with white tents and landing lights. The Velkarn guards didn't move until Sam had stepped out first. Sunlight hit him full in the face, harsh, bright, human. He had never realized how much color the galaxy lacked until he saw Earth's blue sky again. As the honey badger was released onto soft sand, it paused, sniffed, then trotted toward a large rock as if nothing had happened. It didn't look back once, not even at Sam. Freedom was just the next natural step. Vorkel watched in silence. On Tyros 9, every victory becomes a story for children. Will you do the same? Sam shrugged. Maybe. But humans are strange. Our stories aren't warnings, they're reminders. Reminders of what? That anything small can still make the universe look twice. The two stood side by side for a long moment, watching the creature disappear into the brush. For the first time in his life, Vorkel bowed slightly. "Your world has humbled mine, Sam Carter." Sam shook his head. "Nah, just educated." Vorkel's grin returned, brief, sharp, but genuine. Perhaps the galaxy needed schooling. Weeks passed. By the time Korther Vex returned home, the Velkarn Empire was already different. Their fighting academies began integrating a new doctrine called the principle of enduring will, borrowed from Sam's words. Young warriors exercised not just their muscles, but their patience. They studied how small creatures use strategy, how survival itself could be a weapon. Across their cities, holographic monuments flickered to life, showing two figures, a human and a tiny beast, standing over a fallen colossus. Some citizens protested, claiming it was a disgrace. Others bowed in admiration. The galaxy was rarely quiet, but the Honey Badger event was all anyone talked about. Messages arrived on Earth, too, warnings disguised as compliments, offers of trade suddenly dripping with politeness. Even the galactic councils, usually slow to react, began listing Earth as a restricted combat zone, not because of weapons, but because of reputation. Humanity had become a myth overnight. Back at his research base somewhere in the Australian outback, Sam sat at a workbench covered in alien samples. The desert wind drummed against the building, low and steady. Scouts, the same Honey Badger, now roamed freely outside, occasionally glaring at passing drones like a tiny, grumpy supervisor. Sam was reviewing Velkarn data logs when the base comm flickered. Vorkel appeared in holographic form, his image grainy but unmistakable. "I expected you sooner," Sam said, sipping coffee. Vorkel inclined his head. "Your world is noisy, hard to get through your defenses. That's how we like it." The commander's tone softened. "The council rewrote the records of the Rithrax tournament. It now bears a subtitle in your language, 'Never underestimate Earth.'" Sam chuckled. "Catchy. There's more," Vorkel continued. "Smaller species across the outer systems have begun revolting against their predators. They say they fight with the heart of the Honey Badger." Sam placed his mug down, eyes widening a bit. "You're kidding. They use your words as a chant. Fear doesn't help you survive." He let the silence speak. Outside, a windstorm rolled dust along the plains like a living river. "So," Sam said finally, "turns out your empire just started a movement." Vorkel's throat rumbled in something close to laughter. Perhaps prey and hunters were never so different after all. Sam nodded slowly. "That's the real part you needed to learn." By the year's end, the one simple experiment between alien arrogance and Earth resilience had turned into cosmic legend. Merchants carved miniature badgers as good luck charms. Pirates painted them on their ships. Some militant sects claimed the creature was divine. But through all the exaggeration, one line remained unchanged in every retelling. Humans didn't bring a weapon. They brought a lesson. Late one night, Sam sat outside the research base, staring at the stars. The Honey Badger snuffled nearby, digging a new den under the camp fence, noisy and relentless as ever. "Yeah," Sam murmured. "I know. You started all this. You probably don't care." The little animal grunted and kept digging. From his seat, Sam recorded a final entry for the Human Frontier Bureau log. They wanted Earth's apex predator. They left with respect. The Velkarn will probably come back someday. Curious, not hostile. That's fine. By then, maybe we'll have learned the same thing the Honey Badger already knows. Fear's not an obstacle. It's a motor. End of report. He transmitted it, wiped the dust off his tablet, and leaned back. Overhead, a thin streak of light crossed the sky. Probably a Velkarn patrol ship heading somewhere new. He smiled. Guess they're off hunting lessons instead of trophies now. Far across the galaxy, Vorkel stood before a class of young Velkarn recruits. Instead of roaring about conquest, he played them a slowed-down projection of the Honey Badger's fight. "This," he told them, voice echoing off the steel walls, "is what it means to fight until the end. Size doesn't crown the apex. Refusal does. This was Earth's gift to us. Remember it well. One day, you may share an arena with something that looks small, and you will understand." The recruits listened in total silence. When the video ended, none of them laughed. Vorkel turned off the display and looked out a narrow window to the stars beyond Tyros 9's atmosphere. Somewhere out there, a small blue planet spun quietly, full of soft-skinned creatures who had turned giants into students. He murmured to himself, "They thought we were hunters. They were wrong. We are learners now." And deep inside, for the first time since the endless wars began, Commander Vorkel felt at peace. Back on Earth, the honey badger curled into its burrow and slept. The desert wind sang over the dunes like an ancient hymn. Somewhere billions of miles away, entire civilizations whispered its name with a mix of awe and caution, because in the end, everyone realized the same thing the Velkarn finally had. It wasn't the honey badger.